It's time for another Bni Referral Masters weekly newsletter. Year in Review Edition.
Alrighty. Well, first things first.
All right. 2018 Year in Review.
2018 Year in Review.
You made us drink, people. Look at this.
This is what it's like to be in leadership. Happy holidays, everybody. Okay. So, Dwayne, first question.
So, Lauren.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Please tell everyone at home watching why you wanted to do this year review.
Well, I just feel, we've done a lot this year, and sometimes it gets forgotten along the way, and we do have new members that, well, Teresa and Nancy just joined in the last 2 months, and they maybe don't know the culture we've tried to establish in the chapter, and just things we've done this year we want to talk about, review a little bit, and some of the fun and highlights.
Okay, so we came up with a list of things that we wanted to go over so that you guys could get a feel for the year review, but also for new members, past members, current members. This is just our way of recapping everything. So let's start at the beginning. Why did you decide to take on the leadership role when you were asked to do it?
Because I had turned it down once before because the timing wasn't right, and this time I thought the timing would be right, but there's really never a right time. So I'm just going to say, when the opportunity presents itself,
take it.
Take it.
And with that, then, what was your number one goal this year, and do you feel like you accomplished it?
My number one goal this year was to, regardless of the numbers and things we've always been good at, was to really kind of change the culture in the chapter. I mean, we can still have fun. That's always been our culture. We've always been a very dynamic chapter, energetic chapter. It's one of the things that attracted me to Bni Referral Masters. But bring in a little more structure and change some of the attitudes regarding certain roles. Every role is vital.
Of course.
And just making people realize that whether you're a mentor, whether you're a membership, whether you're a visitor host, whether you're secretary treasurer, you all play a vital role in the whole success of the chapter.
Yeah, I mean, we really can't do what we do without everyone fulfilling their roles, and so it's quite an honor when you get asked by the current president to be VP or visitor host or whatever your role is. You really should embrace it because you can make it a lot of fun and make it your own for sure. And
the other part of that culture was, and we've stated it right from the beginning, is to think like a champion. Because we talk a lot about, at least in the 5 years, I mean, this is my 5th year, so the 4 years prior, I always heard about how we won Chapter of the Year in 2012, how we won Rookie Chapter of the Year. Well, that's the past. That's like living in the glory day Oiler years. I wanted to make this year our year of success and focus on really being a champion. That's why the tagline, refer like a champion all year long, is just sort of keep that forefront that we are championship level and we can do this as a group.
So then we got to ask, what was your best BNI moment?
My best BNI moment. A couple come up, leaped to mind. One of them was when we found out our traffic light as a chapter went green. That was huge. In fact, I was in the process of making the newsletter for the week when Lauren told me, and I quickly modified a short, about a 25-second newsletter, and emailed it to her. And I won't share it with you, but it was basically a traffic light with me yelling excitedly profanity.
All kinds of profanity. It was hilarious. If you want to see that video, just message him privately. It's a good one.
It was very exciting when we finally got to a green traffic light. So
awesome.
That would be the top one. And the other one's very fresh in mind from Thursday, the big bottle of Jack Daniels you gave me. Made me tear up.
Mine of course was the football game, as you all know, but we'll talk about that shortly when we get moving on to events here. So this year we saw some pretty significant moments. A couple were quite shocking. Would you care to elaborate on that, Dwayne?
Well, there were two that were very shocking. One was the kick that was heard around BNI. The kick.
Okay.
So for those of you who weren't there, we had a couple members that were chatting away in a corner while another member was I think discussing events and things that were coming up. And I had the microphone and had asked them to be quiet 3 times on the microphone, and they were so involved in their little chatter that was distracting everyone. I went up to the table and I just wanted to nudge it to give, kind of, because they hadn't heard me say anything. And I kicked the table. Water flew everywhere because there was a jug on that table. It definitely got everybody's attention.
It really did. But I mean, would you say you regret it?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I mean, I talked to you afterwards. I felt bad about it, but I don't regret it because it helped in that culture change, right? That we weren't going to fool around this, and if you were going to be a distraction, you were to get called out on it. And one of the individuals apologized for their behavior because of that and being a distraction, and he changed his conduct in the meeting. So yeah, it was good.
It was good. Another big shocker this year was our visitor day. So for newer members, you missed it, but we had a visitor day. It was led by our one and only Mike Beeler, who's our growth coordinator, and he killed it. We got 75 guests out for our visitor. 75 non-members came specifically to one of our luncheons, and the room was over 100 people with our own members, and it was crazy. So Dwayne, do you think that visitor day was a success, and would you suggest Referral Masters does it again?
Yeah, it was a huge success. I mean, when you have Pat Stride, the regional director, and our ambassador saying that's the most visitors they've ever seen at a visitor day, and the thing that I didn't know is we actually had an extra half an hour.
Oh yeah.
We condensed it into the hour and a half meeting, and it could have been 2 hours. So we ran it effectively, and it was a huge success. I think we surprised ourselves immensely on the amount of visitors we had, and that was great. And would we do it again? I would strongly suggest doing it again. I would also strongly suggest doing it in the second half of the year, maybe after August, after people get back from holidays.
Yeah.
For numbers reasons, so that you finish strong as a chapter.
Yeah, I agree. I think the coolest part about that whole day was how everyone pulled together, and actually a lot of members before it were expressing nervousness, saying that they weren't sure that it was going to be a success, or how could we possibly get that many people, and then everyone that day kind of went, oh my gosh, we did it, we actually did it. And that was only because everyone took it upon themselves to invite anyone and everyone they could, and the day ran smoothly start to finish, just because the people that were part of it were excited, and it went off like a hitch. It was awesome. I can't say anything else.
And the fact that, I mean, the 4 years before that, I don't ever remember Bni Referral Masters doing a visitor day. So to not having done one in 5 years, and to having them was so amazing was huge. So great work, everybody that was part of that. That was awesome.
That was awesome. And shout out to the events team this year. We had Rob Collier and Jeff Scarsburg kind of heading that for a little bit there. And we really wanted to get the chapter this year out, more involved, doing things outside of BNI. Not always centered around BNI, because I think we get wrapped up in it always being networking and business, but just to get to know each other in a more casual setting. So those two came up with a good plan of arranging a social event for the chapter. The idea was once a month get together, so we picked different restaurants, and it kind of took the chapter from being a networking group that met for lunch every week to a group of friends that met for lunch every week that also did things together outside of the chapter. And so we had Friday socials, bowling with the BNI Aviators chapter, which was hilarious and so much fun. Thanks to Lynn from Aviators for putting that together. It was amazing. We had the football games, we had karaoke, we had the Christmas party. There's so much.
Mini golf extravaganza.
Mini golf extravaganza, golf tournaments. It was crazy. What was your favorite this year?
Oh, there's so many highlights from each. The bowling thing was probably the time I threw the ball and it went backwards. That was hilarious. But just networking with another chapter was good.
Yeah.
And I think, moving forward, I would recommend to any incoming president, any chapter that our ambassador looks after, maybe try to coordinate 1 or 2 events with them a year, so we can do cross referrals, which would be good. The mini golf was great. John Uzwanko planned that, and the weather was terrible that morning.
Yes.
We got out there for the mini golf, it cleared up, we played for the hour, the weather was fantastic, had a few pops afterwards, and then it started to rain again, and the weather was perfect, and I got to spend that time, doing the 19 holes took about an hour, and I spent it with John, and I really got to know him as a person versus somebody you meet at the meeting. So that's another great thing of these events is you get to know people and the things they like, the things they do, they travel and whatnot.
Yeah.
So that was really good. Football game was amazing. You get 70 people plus at a football game, and even though the wrong team won handily, it was kind of secondary to what was going on because it was so much fun just being there with everybody. And the Eskimos lost. That was kind of totally secondary. And I have to admit, the party at Blake's, at this point, because knowing I was moving, I approached it differently. I wasn't really social that night. It's because I was sitting back enjoying it because I was just taking it all in. This is a great group of people that I enjoy being around, and it was a little point of view, but
Yeah, and we all know, of course, my favorite was the Eskimos Bombers game for very personal reasons. But the biggest thing for me about that one is we all know, one, that I like to organize events, and two, I love to have everyone that I love close by and all of my friends nearby. To get 75 people to come out for one of Jeff's games was really just amazing for me, because last year I coordinated a football game that I couldn't go to, and there was a good turnout. I think about 15 members.
Yeah.
Well, about 7 members brought someone to the game, so about 15 people went to the game, and they said they had a good time. But this year, because I was able to attend, I said to Dwayne, I really want to do something bigger. I want everyone to be able to hang out together and really experience football the way I experience football, which is with nothing but excitement and love. And I was blown away by the turnout. We had so much fun. It was freezing. We all froze. And, the Eskimos really were supposed to win, and they didn't. So they were all really good sports about it. And after that day, I really felt way closer to the chapter, because to me that was just so heartwarming to have everyone there. So I really appreciate everyone who came out, and there will be lots more games in the future. So now we have to get serious, though. Sorry. We wanted to take a minute to shout out to some key players in our chapter this year. Of course, we have so many, and this year we wanted to talk about the most improved. So who did you say was most improved this year?
when we initially talked about this, 2 people leapt to mind right away, and I've been thinking about it, and the third person came to mind. Tilton Reed has improved this year, and his weekly presentations. I mean, the coach, the cheerleader, keep going, Tilton. It's awesome when you break to that chapter, and the energy is fantastic. Clinton, just from a scoring standpoint, I mean, at the beginning of the year, when you're the president the previous year, and because of the culture that had existed, when I asked him to be visitor host, I expected some backlash. But no, Clinton understands, as a former president, how valuable a visitor host is, and accepted that role fantastically. So he's got a great attitude, and just thank you for everything, Clinton. You're an amazing man, and a huge improvement this year as well, just in your Power of One reports. But the person who made the most radical change as an individual, and sadly is no longer part of our chapter.
It happens.
Claire, huge. The summer challenge we had got her engaged and involved, and she went from being in the gray to being in the green. And
which we didn't think was possible.
So,
to be honest.
Totally the most improved.
Yep.
Most improved player, if you will, would be Claire, in my opinion.
Okay. And then, of course, we have our Referral Masters, we call them. You know who you are: Mallory, Jerry Dixon, Paul Foster, Rob Swerd, Carol Mohart. You guys kill it, and you kill it every meeting, every year. Spencer Yonke, you're in there too, with and I know that there's certain other power teams that also refer like crazy amongst each other too. Yep. So good job, you guys. Like our group with referrals, I don't know where we stand in terms of other chapters, but the volume, like to have over 4,500 referrals passed amongst each other is unheard of. It's nuts.
It's huge.
Yeah. A big one that I wanted to bring up was actually Cam Baker.
Yes.
Stepping up as mentor this year. Cam, of course, we all know and love, has a big heart and a big voice, and
he is a Patriots fan.
Yeah, he's a Pats fan, and we love him in spite of that. But he really stepped up when we asked him to be a mentor. We thought he needed to be more present in the chapter in a leadership role, and when we gave him that role, he just stepped up and really took control of it. So thank you, Cam, for leading by example. It's appreciated.
And as being my mentor, he got us engaged right away.
Yep.
So
We love it.
Thanks, Cam.
Thanks, Cam. And if we were big football fans, of course, we have to talk about the rookies and the veterans. So rookies this year, we had Kevin Cordy, Kevin Hines, Dave Hune, Jeff Scarsbrick, Luke Bouchard, Teresa Wells, Vinny Costanzo. In your mind, from the newest members, who would you say really stands out?
Again, all different qualities, great individuals. I see some. Leaving this chapter, these individuals stick around. I see some huge things for this chapter. But I'd have to say, Spencer and Kevin, they've also been around longer than,
a little bit longer,
Teresa and Nancy, but those two guys, potential presidents, guys. I would
Consider it.
It is a great learning experience, especially when you're running your own business. The things you've learned as president, you can implement in your own business as well.
It's true. And of course, not last but not least, our veterans. We've got Bruce and Earl and Gerald Cockey and Jason Scott and Tilton and Rob Collier. We just think you're all such pillars of our Bni Referral Master.
Earl, who's my sponsor, who brought me into the chapter.
Earl Shinjuk, of course. It's these events this year, I got to know a lot of these guys more personally, and just makes it so much easier to refer to each other when you know each other, right? And of course, we couldn't be there with where we are without all of you. So thank you for that, you guys.
Everybody played an important role in the chapter this year. Whether you're one of the founding members or one of the people who joined the chapter this year, everybody contributed greatly to the success we had overall.
Awesome. So going on now to the future. Okay, we don't know who will be president next year, but there's been some chatter as to why we didn't do an election style in the group chat. So would you care to comment on that?
Well, that's Bni. You don't have elections, so
shocking.
So the last couple years were unnecessary. Doing elections is just something I think we just did because we were always, again, part of the culture was we're the rogue chapter, which I think we've done away with, hopefully. But I mean, we always have that rebellious side. We will always have that.
We'll always have that, yeah.
But no, it's a Bni thing that you choose from within, and then they interview and pick one of the people that the existing president recommends.
Yeah. Do you feel good about who you nominated?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely. You're in good hands.
You're in good hands. And for advice to the incoming leadership, from president to president, what would be your number one piece of advice that you would give the incoming president?
Number one, choose an awesome vice president. Number one. And the second thing, if I could expound a little bit, I would say is the quality of discernment. There are many personalities in the chapter, and as you get to know them, sometimes something will happen you'll think that's not how they normally behave. Instead of reacting quickly to it, take a moment, take a step back, and think about, okay, maybe I need to do a one-to-one this person, find out what's going on with them, and maybe there's more to the story, and something you can help them with. Just so don't leap into action because you're reacting, a knee-jerk reaction. So take a moment, step back, use some discernment. So,
the art of clever editing has been lost forever.
This is shocking. Yeah, I'm going to say for me, the biggest thing for advice that I'm going to pass on to the future vice president would be just to lead by example. If your job is to oversee membership and the membership committee and really be the HR department of your chapter, then you really should be one of the people that has attendance, a sub when you're not there, who's organized, who is open to conversation with other members, because that is really your role. And to treat everyone with respect and privacy. You're going to hear a lot of things coming at you from members, whether it's good feedback or constructive criticism or concerns that they have. It really is your job to be a confidant and to deal with it respectfully. So be available, be open, have conversations with the members, and just make them feel good. And when you're dealing with the membership committee, try to be as objective as possible. And that's really the best thing you can do. And your chapter members will trust you. They'll see that you're there for their best intention, and that's really it. Oh, and also get really excited about the numbers, because numbers are cool, people. Okay, they are cool. Other than that, I guess saying goodbye. We're saying goodbye. So Dwayne, in your reign this year, is there anything you thought you'd accomplish but maybe you didn't? Is there still time to do that, do you think?
Well, considering it's the year in review and we're probably going to be airing this on December 31st, I'm going to say no. But I can't accomplish it. The one thing and there's so much to do. We all have full-time jobs and personal lives, and we do as much as we can for Bni and for the chapter. But one of the things I wish I could have done more of is, I noticed some members that maybe were not engaged or as engaged as I thought they should be, and because of, they've maybe been around the chapter for a while, and just try to get them engaged. As a president, I would like to spend more time with those individuals, and use, as I mentioned, that discernment earlier, to maybe find out what makes them tick and get them a little more engaged. But that's just me. One of the things I would have preferred to have had more time to do. But to those individuals, you still matter. I just didn't have enough time to get around to everybody and everything.
It's tough. We're all busy. We're all so busy. I know for me, I definitely thought we would get to 45 members this year. And I think by changing the culture, that also comes with the fact that you might lose some members just because of culture change. But that also means, I think, moving forward, that we have a really good potential to bring in new, strong, key members also. So it's not necessarily a negative thing. It's just something it's an opportunity. And I definitely thought we would be a larger group by the end of it, but we're only in the third quarter technically. So we do have some time to build that up, and we've actually got some applications in the works, and we've got lots of people with interest. So just gonna keep plugging away and hopefully get those visitors engaged after the meeting. I think that's our biggest goal we talked about, was setting up a structure for talking to all the visitors after each meeting and making sure that they know that they're important and that we really appreciated them being there. So yeah, I guess as you pass on the torch, how do you hope to help the incoming president transition, being that you're moving away?
I'm a phone call, an email away. Phone call, email still the same. My personal cell will still be the same.
That was an easy one.
So yeah, I'm still available.
Okay. Yeah, and for me, I'll still be there. So if they need help with anything, that's not a big deal. And last question, what will be your greatest leave behind, or legacy, I guess, as a member? Because he's been here for a long time. So what do you think?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this. I think part of the legacy is twofold. One of the things I contributed for, I was the social media coordinator for the first 4 years.
That's right.
And to get the recognition that we got from Ivan Meisner, because we were so active in social media, more than any other chapter, and Mallory has elevated that. Fantastic work, Mallory.
Oh yeah.
She's elevated. So that was something I would like to think I started, and Mallory's carrying the torch, and the torch is blazing. So keep it up. As a president, I hope the culture continues the way it has, and that we continue to play like champions. We talked about being in the conversation for chapter of the year. We got in the conversation. Hopefully the next president comes after that can continue that work and continue to have fun. And well, like I said, our chapter will always have that little rebellious spirit, but let's keep it little. And that's kind of it. I'd also like to mention to have the opportunity to visit other chapters, because you get to meet other people and you see how other chapters are run.
Definitely.
And the chapter I would like us to be like is that chapter in Red Deer that I mentioned to you one time, that on a Tuesday. They're the same size as us. They have the same number of members of us. They have much fun as we do, but their meetings follow all the guidelines and hit. I mean, they are, I would call almost the perfect chapter.
Yeah, I felt that way about North Stars when I visited them. They were same size group. They were morning chapter, and for morning chapter, they had a lot of energy. you could tell they were a tight-knit group of people. They have a lot of fun. They've got some funny people in their meetings too, but they run very smoothly and they're on time and they're very professional. So, and they're consistent. They're consistent in their numbers, they're consistent in their attendance, and you know, they are at the top and
And
for
they're
a
the
reason.
one chapter we've been chasing all year.
Yeah, so they are definitely worth visiting. And I mean, there's lots of other chapters to visit. I definitely would recommend that to incoming leadership, is to take some time, go see a bunch of chapters, figure out what you liked, what you didn't like necessarily, and what you would take home from those meetings and bring it back to us to hopefully make us better. So, and that kind of wraps it up for me. I didn't know if you wanted to add anything, but I wanted to know if you plan on joining any BNI when you're in Vancouver. Is that kind of...
Yeah, I found the thing with the Bni Vancouver, and I've looked all over the place, there's about 3 morning chapters, or 3 lunchtime chapters. So one of them is in Kelowna, and a good friend of Earl and myself happens to go to that lunchtime one in Kelowna on Thursdays. So when I'm in Kelowna, I will probably crash that one.
Perfect.
But there's a chapter about 10 minutes from my home that meets in the morning. But that is the Pacific time zone, so I could probably, it's not too early. They're very similar to ours, just smaller. They're about 17 members, but they're similar in the sense that they have a lot of tradespeople in it. Painters and plumbers and electricians. So it'll probably be a nice fit. I've already reached out to their president. We've had a conversation. We've creeped each other's websites. He's very impressed with the work we've done. So yeah, that's probably where I've already made arrangements to be there on January 17th to visit that chapter. So
Okay.
yeah.
That about wraps it up for me. We just wanted to do a year review, and if anyone wants to reach out and add to it, I guess we'd be more than happy. But
Please do.
yeah, anything else you wanted to add?
Make comments below.
Make comments below.
Subscribe and make comments below. I don't want to say
Subscribe,
that.
yeah. And if we get enough success, maybe I'll make this a thing and interview people throughout the year. 'Cause Lord knows. But anyway, thank you to everyone for a great year. Thank you to Dwayne, of course. Thank you to the leadership team. Thank you to BNI. We've had so much fun. And Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year.
Have a great 2019.
Cheers.
Thank you, Lauren.
We did it! We finished strong! We referred like champions! We are going to be chapter of the year, I know it! Woo-hoo-hoo! Woo!